Hi guys, this lesson is just like the first lesson regarding when you receive a new project. So the first thing we usually do is we try to allocate the project metadata somewhere in hubstaff. For that, we usually create a new project over here in the main board. You may need to discuss this with the people from operations team. So once you have like a new board created, you will need to allocate the most important information regarding the project over there. So you will need like an admin column, then a design column. At least those two will be the most pertinent for us in the design team. So first of all, you will need to create a task in which you will need to allocate all the most important information regarding the budget hours, the brief, the instructions we received from the client, and so on. So make sure to name it like brief or project info or something like that, dash the name of the project. All right, so over here you will need to link all the most important documents. So we usually have the finance worksheet. That's something that the people from operations will link here in the description. But you will need to create, if it's not already created, you will need to create a project worksheet. It has more or less the same format, and we usually copy and paste the same columns everywhere. So you may copy this from some other worksheet that we already have, and you will need to write down all the pages, subpages, sub-subpages, and so on, and sections too, for this particular project and for their specifications. And as you go on working on this, you will need to update the worksheet, because this is like the document that will track the progress of the project so that everyone is on the same page, and yeah, we don't have any confusion over what's being done and whatnot. So we'll have a Figma preview column. Over here you should attach the Figma links to each of the frames, not just like the general Figma, but to the frames specifically for these pages. Then when the project moves into development, the people from the dev team will update the staging URL. Then you may need to add some comment if you have some. And as you are done with the different pages, you should like add this checkbox instance over here and just check the ones that you already have finished. The same for the mobiles. In my case, for example, I forgot to update this, but all mobile frames have been done. So that's it for me. And yeah, and the rest of the worksheet will be populated by the rest of the teams that will work on this project later on. But since we are like the first team that works on each and every design project or client project that we get, it's important that we make sure that all of these is completed and up to par. So this is for the project brief info. Also, if you have some information as to how much time the project should take, in my case, for example, this was 4 weeks. This should be over here. If you have a client questionnaire, that should also be allocated here. I'm going to make another lesson about the client questionnaire because it's a really important part, and yeah, I'll explain that later on. But yeah, all the important documents should be here. Also meeting notes, and if you already know how many hours the project should take and you know how many pages it should have, then you should create one task in the design column, one task for each and every page, and divide the total amount of hours that you have. Let's say it's a project for 10 layouts, then you have 100 hours for this project, then you should divide those 100 hours into like 10 hours for each of the tasks, so that you can keep track of how many hours you've worked on that and how much time you had originally for that. So that's basically it for the project metadata. You feel free to ask if you need anything.